double brackets, the way to expand double brackets is to multiply every possible pair of terms you see within the brackets. I think the most efficient way of doing it is to start with the first bracket, multiply by all possible terms in the second bracket, and then do the same for the other term in the first bracket. So what I mean by that is as follows. You've got 2x, let's multiply 2x by 3x, let's multiply 2x by plus 9, and then you go to minus 3. Be careful to take that minus with you, and then minus 3 times plus 9. You just have to watch out for signs. So let's go through this one together. You multiply 2x by the 3x. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times plus 9 is plus 18x. Do you see what I did there? I'm thinking of 2x times plus 9. I'm thinking to look what the sign is, because that might be a minus. You need to look. Positive, positive. Okay, you need to just think about where the negatives arise. Minus 3 times 3x, that's this blue arrow. Minus 3 times 3x is minus 9x. And finally, minus 3 times plus 9 is minus 27. Then, what we can do is we can simplify. Because, like terms, there's no other x squareds, so it's 6x squared. Plus 18 minus 9 is plus 9. And we have a quadratic. 6x squared plus 9x minus 27 because of those two middle terms. Looking at a more involved example that involves double brackets, the most important thing to start off by getting right is deciding what you're going to do first. And really what we're looking at here is a BIDMAS. Okay? So obviously we've got brackets all over the place, so that you have to deal with the brackets first. Okay, so you have to multiply at these brackets first. You have to multiply at this bracket. So deal with the brackets on either side of the minus first, and then you bring the minus back in. Now what is very important to realise is what we mean by 2x minus 5 all squared. Okay, it doesn't mean you square 2x and you square 5. Okay, that's not what it means. It means the whole bracket is being squared. What does it mean to square something? You times a bracket by itself. So what I would do before you get started is to rewrite the question like so. Rewrite, almost temporarily expand out the 2x minus 5 all squared. And now to expand this out and expand this out. So why don't you pause the video there, have a go at expanding those two brackets, have a go at expanding those two brackets, and then we'll come back together to deal with that minus. So, if you have finished that off, if you multiply this out, you get 3x and 2x, that's 6x squared. 3x and plus 4 is plus 12x. Minus 2 times 2x is minus 4x. Minus 2 plus 4 is minus 8. We're going to leave the minus off for now. Let's keep on going with this. So we get 6x squared plus 8x minus 8. That's now finished for those two brackets there. This would be 2x and 2x is 4x squared. 2x and minus 5 is minus 10x. Minus 5 and 2x is another minus 10x. Minus 5 and minus 5. Be careful. Look at both of those negatives. It's not minus 25. You've got minus 5 and another minus 5. Look carefully for signs. Minus 5 times minus 5 is plus 25. Then those two minus 10x can combine. You get 4x squared minus 20x plus 25. Now, effectively, what we're saying is those two brackets have become this quadratic. That double bracket, okay, that squared of 2x minus 5 becomes this. And then you've got the minus in between. Now, the minus in between affects everything that follows it. So if you're minusing 2x minus 5 squared, that whole thing is being minused. So what you really need to do is then put this temporarily back in a bracket to make it clear that the whole of that is going to be minused. Otherwise, if you just stick a minus like this, you're just literally, the way a minus works, it only minuses what's directly after it, unless you put brackets. So if you don't use brackets, you're basically just minusing the 4x squared, which is only one portion of this. So that's problematic. So you write out this as 6x squared plus 8x minus 8 minus brackets 4x squared minus 20x plus 25. And now we multiply this out. Remember, a minus in front of a bracket really is an invisible minus 1. Minus something is really minus 1 times something. So perhaps, if it makes it easier for you, write a 1 there. So then what does this become? 6x squared plus 8x minus 8 minus 1 times 4x squared is minus 4x squared. Minus 1 times minus 20x is plus 20x. And minus 1 times plus 25 is minus 25. So effectively, every time you have this minus in front of the bracket, you have to keep on going back. Look what I did. That times that, that times that, that times that. Every time I've gone back to the minus 1. See, that's why the brackets are important. It forces you to always minus everything inside the bracket, which is why we needed the brackets. And finally, put like terms together. 6x squared minus 4x squared would be 2x squared, plus 8x and another plus 20x is plus 28x, minus 8 minus 25 is minus 33. So that's the final answer, 2x squared plus 28x minus 33. So why don't you have a go at this example? Simplify this as fully as possible, getting together all like terms. 2x times 3 minus 5x minus 3 times 4 minus x squared. Pause the video there. When you're ready, press play and let's see if you get it right. So, fortunately, the first term is not a double bracket. It's right, it's a standard one where you just got a bracket with something in front, so that's actually easy to simplify. That's just 6x, 2x times 3, minus 2x times 5x is 10x squared. Now, again, the minus and the 3 I'm going to leave for now. Let's just turn our attentions, maybe make it somewhere separate so we don't get confused, that we can work out 4 minus x all squared. So what I'd like you to do is make sure you've written that bit out as 4 minus x times 4 minus x. A word of warning, do not multiply the minus 3 into here. That bracket is being squared, and by big maths, the squared comes first. If you multiply the 3 in, you are breaking the rules of big maths, because we know powers come before multiplication. You cannot multiply the 3 in first, you've got to deal with the squared first. By dealing with the squared first, you have to physically do the brackets. So always do brackets first, or hidden brackets. Remember, that's a bracket squared, that's a hidden bracket. Okay, do the brackets first, then we'll bring that in. So again, let's just work with this. So we've got 4 times 4, 16, minus 4 times x, minus another 4x, minus x times minus x is plus x squared. Right, then the 2 minus 4x's become minus 8x, but I want to write this such that the x squared comes first. Okay, so to start with the x squared, then minus 4x minus 4x, then plus 16. So that is just this bit here. Just that bit there, it comes down to this. This bit here is just that. Now let's bring the 2 together with the minus and the 3. But remember, this expansion has to be put in a bracket. Okay, the minus, and in this case the 3 as well, has to come before all of this. So let's take this, and let's squeeze a minus 3 in the middle. So let's write, so we've got 6x minus 10x squared minus 3 times x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, so you see what I did there? Right, the first term, then the minus and the 3, and then what I found here goes in its own bracket. Now let's multiply this out. So you've got 6x minus 10x squared. Then you've got minus 3 times x squared. Right, that's just minus 3x squared. Now watch out, there's a double minus. Go back to the minus 3, and it's minus 8. Don't ignore that minus. This is not minus 24x. You've got minus 3 and minus 8. You're multiplying, so it's plus 24x. Go back to the minus 3, plus 16. A minus times a plus is a negative, so that's minus 48, because 16 times 3 is 48. Now, do we have like terms? Yep. Minus 10x squared. Again, watch out, there's a minus there. That's not 10x squared. You've got to look at the term in front. Minus 10x squared minus 3x squared is minus 13x squared. Plus 24x plus 6x is plus 30x. Minus 48 has no other terms with it, which means that that's the answer. Minus 13x squared plus 30x minus 48. The final stage for this video is where you have expansions on either side of an equals. Okay, there's another extra element to worry about here. So let's say that I've got 5, 2 minus 3x, and a double bracket, minus 4x minus 2, and x plus 4. That's an expression that we've already covered in this video. But let's suppose that this is equal to x squared minus 1. Okay? So obviously on the right hand side there's no brackets there. There could be. Right? You could have a whole bunch of other brackets on the right hand side. So again, hopefully the process is pretty clear. If you want to pause the video and just actually try this, you can. But I'm going to plug away and solve it. So maybe try it and then press play and let's see if you get it right. So you've got this bracket here, which is 10, because we've got 5 times 2, then 5 times minus 3x, that's minus 15x. You've got the minus. Now this double bracket, okay, we have to work out first, just like we worked out this bracket term here first. It was easy, so I wrote 10 minus 15x. Okay, I might just dispense with this minus for now. Okay, so somewhere else on your page, on the side, okay, just draw an arrow and let's work this out. So you've got 4x times x, that's 4x squared. 4x times plus 4, positive, positive, plus 16x. Minus 2, look, minus 2 times x, that's minus 2x. Minus 2 times plus 4 is minus 8. Right, the x term is simplified. 4x squared plus 14x minus 8. 4x squared plus 14x minus 8. So let's write that up here. 4x squared plus 14x minus 8. And the trick here is do the brackets. As soon as you've simplified the brackets, put them back in its own bracket, then bring in a minus or a minus 2 or a minus 3. In this case, just a minus. Remember, a minus by itself is really minus 1. Now, you might think I've ignored this. For now, I have ignored it. I'm going to bring it back in a minute. So now let's just keep on going with this. So we've got 10 minus 15x. Minus 1 times 4x squared is minus 4x squared. Minus 1 times plus 14x is minus 14x. Minus 1 times minus 8 is plus. Do you see how you have to be careful with signs? Sometimes it's two minuses, which multiply to make a positive. Sometimes it's a minus times a plus, which is a negative. You've got to look, each term, look what's before it. If you're multiplying by something before the bracket, look what's, we've got to look before it. So tempting just to ignore that minus or to ignore that minus. If you ignore any minus, unfortunately that term is going to be incorrect. Now, all of this becomes this, and all of this becomes this. Can we simplify that? Well, look, that term there are x terms. That's minus 29x, minus 15, minus 14, that's minus 29x. 10 and 8 is 18. Okay, remember, numbers come after the x terms, that's right at the end. Now, there's no other x squared terms. So you have minus 4x squared over there. Okay, now let's rub out this to make some space. Remember, we've only worked out the left-hand side. Really, all of this, which has now been nicely simplified to this, is equal to x squared minus 1. So let's now write that as equals to x squared minus 1. If you're worried that you'll forget about the right-hand side, maybe you should write it here as well. here as well. Now, that's not finished. This is an equation. Okay, how can we simplify this further? It's just an issue of like terms. Let's get another colour. Look, this is an x squared term, and this is also an x squared term. We know from our work with equations that if you plus and you minus terms on both sides, whichever one is appropriate, you can join terms together. Look, there's only x's on that side, but look, there's a number there and there's a number there. So we can plus and minus various terms to collect them together. I always say where you have a negative term, reverse it by having a positive term. Okay, we want to try and reduce the negative terms just because it looks a bit prettier. So what I would do here is actually I would reverse the minus 4x squared. So what I'm going to do is add 4x squared on that side, add 4x squared on that side. So what happens? The minus 4x squared and the plus 4x squared, they just cancel. That's the whole point, so I'll get rid of them. And this x squared here, plus another 4x squared makes 5x squared. So I've got 5x squared now. Now what can I do? What I can do now is I can see the numbers. Okay? The numbers are also on two sides of an equals. Okay? So I need to join them together. So what have I got? I've got minus 29x plus 18 equals 5x squared minus 1. So what I might do now is, let's get rid of that 18. Let's get that 18 over there to join here. So minus 18 on both sides. So it now looks like minus 29x, the plus 18 and the minus 18 wipe each other out. The 5x squared hasn't changed. But now look, I've got minus 1 minus 18, which is minus 19. The only problem is that we've got some stuff on the right-hand side and some stuff on the left-hand side. For questions like this involving quadratics, terms that have x squared in them, we call them a quadratic. Okay? We like to have all of the terms on one side and the 0 on the right-hand side. So just have 0 on one side. Okay? So technically that is complete, but we prefer to have everything on one side and 0 on the other side. So I don't want to have minus 29x basically on that side. Okay? So if you don't want a minus 29x there, then add 29x, do the opposite to remove it. Add 29x on both sides, and look, minus 29 plus 29x leaves me with 0. That's what I wanted, remember, that's what I said, that's what I wanted. So therefore, the final answer, let's go up here, the final answer is 5x squared plus 29x minus 19 equals 0. Because I had the 5x squared and the minus 19 already. And then I added 29x on both sides. So there was 0 left there. Okay, so I just put the 0 on the right hand side, and all of this I just wrote on the left hand side. I just switched them around. So we get 5x squared plus 29x minus 19 equals 0.